You were never meant to sleep just to rest. You were meant to sleep to return, to remember, not remember your day, remember your design. The ancients didn't treat sleep like a break. They treated it like a ritual, an opening, a return to the original field of communication between the self and the source. They believed your waking life was a shell, a surface, and your dreams were the ocean underneath it. They believed that the body sleeps so that the soul can move freely, unchained, unfiltered, unwatched by the walls of logic or the prison of identity. But we lost that knowing, not by accident. It was taught out of us. We were told dreams are random noise, that they're just the brain filing junk information, that they're chaotic leftovers from your subconscious fears. But what if that story is the real lie? Because the ancients didn't think dreams were leftovers. They thought dreams were downloads, messages encoded in color, sound, metaphor, because the divine never speaks in plain language. It speaks in resonance. They built entire temples just for dreaming, because to them, the dream world wasn't less real. It was more real, more direct, more ancient, more raw, and most importantly, more honest. In waking life, you pretend, you perform, you hide, you calculate. But in dreams, you are revealed. And that is why the old ones listened. They didn't just try to understand dreams, they tried to live by them. In ancient Egypt, sleep was not a break from life. It was a bridge, and those who understood its power didn't just fall asleep. They prepared. They called them dream chambers, sacred spaces built inside temples, surrounded by silence, geometry, and intention. Priests, initiates, and seekers didn't go there to rest. They went to receive. They entered these sanctuaries with questions, not for gods to answer directly, but for the dream to answer symbolically. They would fast, cleanse, and meditate before lying on polished stone under stars painted on ceilings. The atmosphere wasn't meant to relax the body. It was meant to activate the mind, the real mind, the deep mind, the one that listens when the surface one is quiet, because that's the part of you that the ancients trusted most. To them, the dream wasn't a side effect of biology. It was a meeting. A lion didn't mean a lion. A flood didn't mean weather. A staircase didn't mean stairs. These were encrypted signals from your demon, from the field, from the unconscious archetypes that shape your life beneath your awareness. One image could change your behavior. One sequence could unlock a truth that years of conversation couldn't reach. And they treated every dream like a scroll. They wrote them down. They studied them like maps. They built systems to understand the recurring signs that appeared across people, lands, and timelines. Because they believed the universe had one law: it always responds. And the dream world was where the response came through, unfiltered. So if you think your dreams are random, ask yourself, why did civilizations older than your history books spend lifetimes decoding them? Why did they trust the images behind their eyelids more than the headlines in front of their eyes? And why were you taught never to take them seriously? Somewhere along the line, everything changed. We stopped entering sleep as a sacred rite. We started treating it like a shutdown, a system reset with no spiritual value. Western thinking, shaped by industrial logic and reductionist science, reduced dreams to brain static, to neurons firing without purpose, to random flickers of memory stitched together in a meaningless show. But what if that's not science? What if that's suppression? Because even within early Christianity, dreams were taken seriously. Biblical stories are woven with visions delivered in sleep. Joseph receives divine warning through a dream. Pharaoh's fate is decoded by a dream interpreter. Prophets, kings, visionaries, they all heard something when the world got quiet. And for good reason. When you're awake, your mind is loud. It's full of agenda, image, noise, fear, and programming. But in dreams, the ego sleeps. And that's when your deeper self starts whispering. Not in your language, in its own. Symbols, metaphors, impressions, echoes, things that feel more than they explain. The body becomes still, but the soul becomes fluent. And if you've ever had a dream you couldn't forget, one that clung to you like smoke, or showed you something you hadn't told anyone, that wasn't a glitch. That was a message, not from outside, from beneath. Because your subconscious isn't beneath you. It is you, the original you, the one before your name, before the lies, before the noise. And dreams are how it speaks. So ask yourself, why does every ancient tradition regard dreams as sacred? Why do initiates across cultures train for years just to remember their dreams in detail? What are they remembering that we've been programmed to forget? If this resonates, if some part of you has always felt this truth, subscribe now and turn on the bell. This isn't entertainment, it's remembrance. There's a reason your body becomes paralyzed during certain stages of sleep. It's not a malfunction, it's protection, a boundary set by the deeper intelligence within you. Because when the body rests, something much older, much quieter, and far more powerful comes online. Science calls it REM, but mystics called it crossing. In that state, your brain emits a frequency unlike waking or deep sleep, a rhythm that matches the meditative, the mystical, the in-between. This is where dreams don't just happen to you. They happen through you. Your consciousness detaches from the everyday self, the one made of names, to-do lists, routines, and roles, and slips into a different dimension, not metaphorically, energetically. You've likely felt it, that surreal clarity just before waking, when the laws of reality bend, but everything feels more honest. That moment when you realize you're dreaming, and the dream becomes lucid. That eerie sensation when a dream reflects something you were just thinking, or worse, something you haven't told anyone. The ancients believed this was the signal field, an energetic web where all memory, emotion, thought, and possibility float. And in the dream state, your mind isn't blocked by ego. So it tunes in, unfiltered. This is why some people dream events before they happen, why synchronicities increase after intense dream cycles, why healing, clarity, even inventions come not during work, but during sleep. Einstein saw the structure of time in a dream. Tesla claimed his ideas arrived as visions. Even Mary Shelley dreamed Frankenstein before writing it. Because the veil is thinner when you stop thinking linearly. Dreaming isn't withdrawal from reality, it's immersion into a deeper one, the one that's been humming underneath your logic since the moment you were born. Your soul doesn't speak English, or Arabic, or Latin. It speaks in fire, water, animals, staircases, and impossible skies. It speaks in rhythm, not grammar, in emotion, not explanation. Dreams are the original language, older than speech, more precise than thought, because symbols are universal, not taught but felt. A serpent, a mirror, a fall, a locked door. They don't just mean something, they are something. A fall isn't always about failure. It might be the release you're afraid to allow. Flight isn't just about freedom. Sometimes it's about escaping what you refuse to confront. And when a stranger shows up in your dream, their face blurry but familiar, it might be a version of yourself you haven't met yet. This is the dream's genius. It doesn't hand you answers. It pulls answers out of you. The mind you use during the day is bound by what makes sense. But the dream bypasses that. It hands you a code, a living riddle. Your only job is to notice the colors, the emotions, the timing, the things that repeat, because repetition in dreams is a signal flare. Your deeper self shouting through smoke and fog, pay attention, I've shown you this before. This is why ancient mystics kept dream journals like sacred texts. They tracked what recurred. They watched how one image echoed through years of different dreams. They learned their own inner language. And what they discovered was this. The more you pay attention, the louder your dreams get. The more you honor them, the more precise they become. But if you ignore them, they fade. Not because they stop coming, but because the signal gives up trying to be heard over your noise. So if you've ever woken up with the feeling that something important happened, that you saw something real but it slipped away, you didn't imagine it, you just missed the moment to receive. The tragedy isn't that people stopped dreaming. It's that they started treating their dreams like trash, discarded, forgotten before breakfast, dismissed as nonsense the second logic wakes up. But dreams aren't nonsense. They're the only time your soul can speak without interruption. Because in the dream, your job, your name, your relationships, your politics, all of it dissolves. And what's left is what's true. A version of you that isn't performing, isn't pleasing, isn't proving, just revealing. This is why dreams often feel uncomfortable, because truth is rarely soothing at first. It confronts you. It shows you the thing you won't say out loud, the need you've buried, the fear you've rehearsed, the desire you've denied. And it does so without permission. You'll dream of being chased, not because you're in danger, but because there's a part of you you've abandoned, and it's trying to catch up. You'll dream of losing your voice, not because your throat is blocked, but because there's something inside you that's begging to be said. And you'll dream of a door you can't open, because you know where it leads, and you're not ready to go there. These aren't metaphors someone else gave you. These are truths you wrapped in symbols, so that they could pass through your defenses unnoticed. The dream is a smuggler of self-knowledge, and every night it tries again, to break through the armor of your identity, to get one image past the guard, to deliver one message you might just remember if you stay still long enough in the morning. But we jump out of bed, we check our phones, we drown the voice with dopamine, and the message fades. That's not forgetting, that's self-sabotage. So maybe it's time to treat your dreams like the sacred letters they are, like transmissions sent from a part of you that remembers everything, even the things you've been taught to forget. What if one dream holds the answer you've been chasing for years? Not a vague message, not a cosmic riddle, but a precise, encoded solution, buried in an image you forgot 5 minutes after waking. You've had these dreams before, the ones that feel more vivid than waking life, the ones where the emotion is so real it lingers in your chest for hours, even though you can't explain what happened. That's not coincidence. That's the signal getting through. The ancient initiates knew how to honor that signal. They understood that healing isn't something you do, it's something you receive. And often, it comes disguised. One symbol can crack a limiting belief. One scene can show you the pattern you've been stuck in. One repeated figure can reveal a core wound you've buried so deep you forgot it was there. But you need to notice. Not just remember the dream. Record it. Engage with it. Treat it like a sacred map, not a fleeting moment. Because your psyche isn't just trying to entertain you while you sleep. It's trying to wake you up. Why do you think some dreams come back over and over again? Why do some leave you shaken, as if something enormous just happened but no one else saw it? Because something did happen, and you were the only witness. You don't need a priest. You don't need a guru. You need a pen, a notebook, and a willingness to listen to the version of you that still remembers. That's how the ancients did it. Not with dogma, but with presence. They became students of their own inner world, and every night, class was in session. Not all dreams are pleasant, but all dreams are precise. And when you start receiving them as sacred, they stop whispering, they start teaching. Tonight, don't just fall asleep. Enter, lie down with intention, ask a question, not to the sky, not to some deity outside you, but to the part of you that watches silently while the rest of you forgets. And when the dream comes, receive it. Don't try to make sense of it right away. Don't reduce it to categories or interpretations. Instead, feel it. Follow the scent. Trace the emotion. Watch what it stirs. The soul doesn't send PowerPoints. It sends riddles made of fire and water. So in the morning, before the world floods in, write, draw, voice record, keep it alive. Because you're not chasing meaning, you're cultivating memory. And the more you honor the signal, the stronger it gets. Eventually, you won't just dream at night. You'll start recognizing the dream within your waking life. The synchronicities, the symbols, the strange knowing, and that's when the line between sleep and wake fades. And you realize you were never supposed to live blind in daylight either. You were designed to dream with your eyes open, so don't stop here. This video is just the key. There are more doors, more codes, more memories hiding in plain sight. If this resonated, go deeper. Watch the other transmissions on this channel, because once you open this gate, everything starts to change. And now I ask you this, what is the one dream you've never forgotten? And what do you think it's still trying to tell you? Drop your answer in the comments. You might unlock more than just your own mind.